Greetings! This is the second video for, 80 down, 80 to go, or weight loss and the art of highway maintenance, as I like to call it. When I bore people to tears really about weight loss, because they ask, I do wait for them to ask, but one thing is, of course, what do you eat? And my first answer is always, well, I've cut out prepared foods. I don't buy canned, I don't buy frozen dinners, I don't buy prepared dinners, and I've cut out all white carbs. So no white rice, no white pasta, no, or very few potatoes. And you need to put something in its place. Now, I like cooking, good for me, but I don't have an awful lot of time either. So I thought I'd actually show how I'd use essentially the same ingredients to, well, not entirely the same, with some additions for each dish, to create very different flavors of things that you probably, or at least hopefully, already buy anyway, and see how I do that. It's alright, it's fun, and it's fast, and in the end, some people, when they eat it, keep it down. So I think that's a success. Let's go to the kitchen. Hi! Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to see if we can do breaded dead animal parts. What I've got is pork, but it works with chicken, fish, beef, and we're going to see how many varieties we can come up with. Since we're trying to cover a fairly wide ethnic varieties, and none of this is going to be authentic, we're trying to get the flavor, sort of, influence, and so I'm trying to cut down on carbs. So rice, white rice especially, pasta, pretty well out of the question. So what we're going to use is cauliflower, because it's white. And it takes flavor of sauces and so on very easily. Very simple. I don't like boiling these. What I use is clarified butter, or ghee, or ghee. I have no idea how to pronounce it. The one I buy is from grass-fed beef and organic. But, you know, frankly, any butter or ghee will do. A little bit in the pot. It's about a teaspoon. You will notice that none of my cooking is actually low fat. I try and limit, but I use normal fat, just slightly less, and I'll take it into the calorie count. So once that start melting a little bit, we're going to just dump that in there, and it kind of sautés in the butter on. Now that it's melting down to fairly low, add and sure, we aim for a lid that fits. Yeah, this one does. And that'll basically cook itself. We'll need to add some salt, pepper, and appropriate seasoning for what we're doing. Breadcrumbing, pretty simple. I flattened these out a little bit. What I use is buckwheat flour, to which I've added some salt and pepper, egg wash, and this is flaxseed, or ground flaxseed. It's fast and easy. Well, we breadcrumbed or flax-seeded these babies. Since I use for my bread nowadays crisp bread, I also tend to add the crumbs that accumulate when you open the package and so on into a container and use it. It adds a little bit more crunch, but this is really quite nice. Frying up, simple, and for this I use some coconut oil because it's healthy. And please remember, your oven has so many settings. It doesn't need to, actually should rarely ever be on a high setting. It burns everything. So we're going to go with a bit over medium on this. It's not a heck of a lot of oil for the 3 or 4 slices that we're going to be able to get into this. Looks a little full, but as they cook they shrink, so all good. The cauliflower is actually beginning to heat up a bit, so a little salt, a little pepper, and, because I like it this way, some chopped garlic. There we go, sort of ever so slowly frying. Alright, these seem to be just about done. Takes about 5 to 8 minutes. Can test rather easily if these are still softish. This is pork, so I'd like to cook it thoroughly, or at least till it's more or less dead. Don't overcook it either because it turns to shoe leather, but this is done. So we'll just take these out. Now we've got a hot pan. There is still some flavor stuck in it. So what we'll do, spinach. This cooks down beautifully. Looks like a lot, doesn't it? But in the end, there'll be very little left. Add some chicken stock. The disgusting little bits and pieces are actually carrot pieces because this is homemade stock. Yellow peppers. And mushrooms. Again, because I like to limit the fat content, normally one would fry onions. In this case, we're just going to add a few. Pieces. And later on we're going to add some tomato. Because it's colorful and it tastes nice, not to mention it's healthy. More or less what you have here is a cooked salad. As you can see, it cooks down quick and easy. Just let it simmer a bit for these mushrooms are, I think, Korean, till they soften up a bit. And let's check in with our rice substitute. It's actually going fairly well. Yeah, that's soft, that's done. And off. Let's deal with some of the toppings. What we've made there basically and essentially is, for German food, Schnitzel. You could just eat it like this. One of those things, some of the veggies, some cauliflower as in, if it's supposed to be a German dish, as a potato substitute. Or, really easy, this butter would be good. Do the amounts to how much fat you think you need. This is a bit, but because I'm going to add mushrooms to it, you need a little bit more fat to basically absorb it. Another one we can get fairly easily going. If we're going to make this as an Italian, take a breadcrumb piece, add a few tomato slices, it's my version of, well, basically veal parmesan, except it's pork and this is provolone, because it actually has less fat. I don't buy fat-free or even reduced-free cheese, because from what I've read, and in my humble and therefore for me dominant opinion, you don't get the benefits of the ingredients. You need the milk fat to absorb the calcium and the other nutrients in the cheese, and, well, frankly, the meat as well, and the vegetables. So why take it out? We can add, in this case, freeze-dried herbs just on top. Goes in the oven just until it melts, basically. Over here, add some onions. This is done. Switch it off. Just saute essentially till translucent. The onions have browned a bit. I add the mushrooms. Salt. Pepper. A little bit of paprika, and a little bit of chicken stock. Cute, isn't it? And I've always wanted to say this. We're going to the plate. That's all done. We'll take a schnitzel. We'll give it a few fake potatoes. I mean, adjust how much you want to eat. I mean, this is low calorie stuff. You don't have to be stingy with it. A few tomato slices. Makes it look pretty. And this becomes the sauce. Voila! Jägerschnitzel. Hunter's cutlet. I have no idea what it means in other languages, but there you go. And the next one. Our Italian version. Looks quite nice. I think one escaped. There you go. Same deal. Veggies, greens, a little bit of the rice, pasta. In this case, I guess pasta substitute. And there you go.
Okay.
It'll taste totally different from the Hunter variety, and obviously you can vary the vegetables you do. You can vary a lot of things. If you're not that afraid of carbs, add pasta. All good stuff. Also on that last dish, if you have leftover tomato sauce, use that instead of fresh tomatoes. As a matter of fact, I believe that would be more traditional. Next, let's try for a Chinese version. Sweet and sour, my own way. We'll use some coconut oil. Since I don't like using sugar, I don't actually own sugar. Sweet and sour, the sweet will have to come from something else. But first, we'll add onions. Lose this. There we go. In this case, we kind of want a wee bit of the crunchiness from the onions, so let's not overcook it. For sweet, traditional pineapple, but Chinese also cook with plums, and I happen to like plums that don't have pineapple, and really my preference is plums, so we'll use plums. This being half a plum and really quite a lot of sauce for the a little bit of ginger, or you might think it's a lot of ginger, to taste, and really leave it out if you don't like it. Tomatoes. Pepper. Salt. If you wish to get a different, more oriental flavor, add, instead of the plum, Chinese mushroom, some sesame seed oil, ginger, garlic, and away you go. Or even add the plum, doesn't matter. This will need a little more of the chicken stock. And since we do want sour, just a touch of apple cider vinegar. There we go. And yet again, we are going to the plate. Love that phrase. I wonder who I stole that from. And there we go. Sweet and sour pork. Actually is pork. It works. But as I said, you can do this with chicken. I wouldn't recommend this particular combination with beef, but it's actually quite tasty with fish. So, one more. And for our next trick, the last one, we're going to attempt to make Indian style. We have a few of the cauliflower left. We're going to add a few chickpeas. And sadly, I'm fresh out of fresh coconuts, so we'll use some canned coconut milk. In this case, a little bit more heat is appropriate. Again, we'll add some ginger, a bit of garlic, and because I like it spicy, chili flakes. I don't eat or cook enough Indian food to actually mix my own curry powder, so we buy one that's, again, presumably organic. Well, that's what they say, and it's quite tasty. This one is actually meant for vegetables. It would be generous, not overly, but okay. And for this, because it's a slightly different presentation, we'll slice the beef. We've added the veggies and added the sliced meat on top, and tasty. Voila! Indian style. Again, this is not an authentic recipe, doesn't pretend to be, but you do get a bit of the flavor. And there are many more ways you can use it. You can spread wasabi on top and call it Japanese. You could put salsa on top and it becomes Mexican. So use your imagination, and it's a simple way to use essentially most of the same ingredients for a large variety of dishes. And next time we'll try stews.